and determination of Lucy Unwin, arriving for work at her Gloucestershire studio. It's early morning, and she's up against a deadline of an exhibition with Messums.
This is a work in progress. It's started out as a hollowed torso, so I'm going to dig all of this out, and it'll have really thin edges coming round. It's inspired, obviously, by the human form, but there's also elements of seashells and plants, so the top's going to be a little bit like a calla lily. And then it's also a bit experimental, so as I go along, I'll make decisions on what I'm going to do then.
Lucy came to sculpture via art school in Winchester. A visit to the Barbara Hepworth Museum in St Ives was pivotal.
And that was the moment, really, where I thought, oh my God, I could do this as a profession. And particularly her carving Pelagus, I fell in love with, and I'm still in love with it. Such beautiful lines in it. I love everything to do with the sea, and it's got the waveforms. And so, yeah, it just encompasses everything I love about sculpture, really.
And Lucy now knows and shows alongside two other artists from Messum's stable, Bridget McCrum and Dominic Welsh. The work of both sculptors featured on her study wall as a student.
So once I've hollowed out this part with angle grinder, I then use a chisel that runs off an air hammer to do the finishing out of the hollowing. You get a bit more detail with a chisel, and it's probably one of my favourite tools to use. It's a nice stone, this. It's white statuary from Carrara, so it'll be quite translucent where it's thin, and it's quite a pure stone, so it's actually fairly soft for a marble. The other sculptures are a bit more grey in them, so they're actually a harder marble to carve. So this one feels quite easy in comparison.
Working through all weathers, Lucy is aware of both the capacity of the human body and its limitations. She was a top-level athlete at a young age.
I think that's probably where my interest in anatomy started, because you're just constantly surrounded by athletes at the sort of peak of their performance, and I think it sort of was a good grounding, really, and also in terms of how you work as a sculptor. It's quite physical, it's quite tiring, and you have to be quite sort of competitive with yourself to actually go about setting your goals and starting it. So it was a good foundation, I think.
Lucy takes a break. With her dog Ivy, the nearby fields are an ideal environment to recharge the batteries. Also, they're a reminder of a childhood on a farm in rural Essex.
When you wake up, I see the ocean in your eyes.
Her love of the countryside and holidays by the sea in Norfolk and Devon is reflected in her early work, in the shape of realistic seashells, human torsos, and ammonite fossils.
Pebbles waiting for us to gather and take home.
More recently, she's extended those themes into something she's keen to show off to David Messum, who's visiting.
Lucy.
David, hello.
How are you?
Lovely to see you.
Great to see you too. And
Yes.
Goodness me.
A lot of new
work.
pieces since you were last
Aren't they
here.
amazing? Goodness me. Looking around briefly, says I, and look what you've got here right in the front.
So this was probably the first one of my new body of work.
Yes.
So I've tried to bring together everything that's been inspiring me over the last
Still
few
got a
years.
little bit of the shell feeling.
Yes, yep, inspired by washed up seashells
Yes.
that have sort of been eroded, and then introducing some sort of human elements.
Human element, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So we've got sort of almost like the pelvic bone and then different figurative angles. And I've just been working on trying to incorporate everything that's inspired me, human form and shells and fossils, into one sculpture.
Well, it's all there. It's a very literary piece too, and very sensuous. Got a Hepworth sort of hole there. That's very clever of you.
And it's a bit like a
Very clever of
pelvis
you.
and
Yep.
a bit like, the ear and that sort of thing. So
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah.
Very
hopefully.
nicely finessed and polished, and lovely base as well.
Yes, Pietrasanta
Yeah.
marble. It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, really lovely. One of the joys of my job is going to see artists and seeing their work, One of the more difficult sides of it, of course, is that you don't often find anybody you want to take on. So the exciting moment is when you see somebody who's got potential. Well, this, I think, is sensational. I mean, it's, again, it's got an element of shell form to it. You can see where it's coming from, so one knows instantly that it's by the artist we all know and love. She's been doing works which are predominantly of fossils in different colours and marble and so on and so forth, which were lovely, were very beautiful and totally saleable, actually. And I've encouraged her to do something different, which is the challenge. And I think she's achieved it, which is really the most exciting thing and the reason why we're here now. And she's, if you like, found her own voice, which is the most important thing for every artist.
Lucy sources her stone in Italy. Pietrasanta is somewhere she's also spent time carving. These works are literally unwrapping her style for the future.
It was an amazing opportunity for me, actually, because it's the first time someone's come to me with, good knowledge of the art world and really spoken to me at length about my work and where I see it going and what I'm doing. The thing I love about stone carving is that it's really physical to start with. You've just got a lump of raw stone that doesn't look like anything. Use all the power tools, and then the final moment, I finish everything by hand. So it's always that really exciting moment where you do the last layer of sanding and polishing and suddenly it really comes to life.